Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nadia, and I am here with Ibrahim. And if you don't know Ibrahim, let me introduce him. He is 14 years old. He reverted to Islam a year ago. So he was only 13 when he took his Shahada. And recently, he walked 35,000 steps to the masjid, to be at the masjid. And what's amazing about this young man is that he's so well versed already in just a short amount of time. But welcome, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
You've been an inspiration even to those who are already Muslims. I'm also a revert, so I understand kind of the journey. But I have some questions for you. Tell me a little bit about what led you to, because you said you started at a very young age of 10, where you started questioning your faith. And by the way, tell me what was your faith?
Because originally I was born in Italy. I was born in southern Italy, Sicily. I was born there, spent a few years though, was born Roman Catholic, and then moved to the U.S. For school. I moved to Arizona originally, and we were just like a good Christian family. Went to church every Sunday. Just life was good. And then we moved to California. And then my dad left Christianity, became hardcore atheist. And then over time, it was just like 6, 7, 8. I was going to church, everything was fine. But then it was 8. That's when everything started. I started questioning everything at 8. I was a little bit concerned about how Jesus could be God, because I knew there was something wrong with it ever since I was 8 years old. And so over time, I was still Christian, but I was questioning my faith until I reached the age of 10. That's when I started questioning it a lot. So I knew Jesus was not God at that point because nobody could prove that he was. So I started looking into other religions like around age 11-ish. And so the first one I came around was Judaism because I had Jewish friends.
So you're like, how did you do this? Like, was it online? Did you read books?
Like, it was online. Yes,
it was all online, and it was like YouTube. You just started Googling things.
Yeah, YouTube. Started studying it. Yeah, and so a lot of things in Judaism made sense, but the main thing is that it is an ethno-religion. So even if a non-Jewish person wants to become Jewish, they would still be treated as less or a second-class citizen, a second-class Jew. So I ruled that out because nobody wants to be second class. And then I looked into Buddhism, but they don't believe in a god. And then that was the same with other religions as well, like similar ones. And then I looked more into Christianity just to see if my faith was true. And I looked deep into it for the next year or so. And I realized there was some major flaws, such as the Trinity. That was the main one.
Right, because for you, what is it that doesn't make sense out of the Trinity?
Yeah.
That there is 3, correct?
Yes.
And so it was, so you started, so that's where you pivot and you started to look.
Yes.
Okay. Well, what made you really hone into Islam?
So then after all these religions, I started looking into Islam, and then everything started going together. And so I saw everyone was equal. Like when everyone's praying, like anyone can be the leader as long as they know more Quran. Like the janitor could lead behind like multimillionaires, for example. And there's just equality. Like race doesn't matter. Like your previous sins don't matter. And also, I started looking further into the Quran. I started reading the Quran, and everything made sense. I didn't see any contradictions. And then whenever I did have a question, it was answered very quickly, unlike the questions I had with other religions. So that's when I started looking very, very deep into it around age 12. And so over the past few months, when 12, then I turned 13, over time, I was listening to scholars, reading books, researching online. And then over the past few months, during that time, I realized Islam was the truth. I had no doubt about it. And then I went to the masjid. I finally managed to convince my parents after 2 weeks or so. They were a little skeptic about it, but eventually they let me go. And then that day,
So how did you convince them? This is really interesting.
Because I said it'll be all right. It's not too big of a change. I told them because we both believe in the same God. We believe in the prophets, etc., etc. And so then they were like, "Okay, you can." And then that's the day I went to the masjid and I took my shahada.
SubhanAllah. That's amazing. And so I hear now that your grandmother is like considering, or anybody
Yeah.
else, like your family,
Yeah,
so your grandmother
she's
is like,
interested in it. Yeah, she would like to learn more.
it's amazing, amazing. I hope you inspire so many other people. I really see you as potentially like a scholar, just
Yeah.
because I mean I'm so impressed by the way your knowledge, and not just your knowledge, but I mean you're already using a lot of terms. Have you already started to learn how to read? Like, what is your extent of your knowledge right now? Because I feel like you know so much. SubhanAllah.
Yeah. So yeah, I've started to learn Arabic a little bit. I'm not too good on it, but yeah, over time I'll be slowly learning it. But I've also been going very deep into fiqh as well. That's the main thing.
SubhanAllah. And then you told me that something about what really was different about Islam um, is it's the one God, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
And the equality as well, because every Muslim is equal.
Yeah.
Like no difference between white or black, like Asian, Indian. Everyone is the same. The only difference is piety.
I hope you inspire more, and I hope you really do continue on and hope maybe even become a scholar. Do you have any do you have any wish to potentially
Eventually,
like
I do
teach?
plan
Like,
on
are you
of
more?
course.
Are you kind of a teacher?
Yeah,
Or,
of course. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
I've been teaching my friends, and they've been learning, and I've already convinced a few people to turn to Islam before.
Have you really?
Yes.
So you've actually helped people come to Islam already. Like how many people?
So far, at least 3 or 4.
SubhanAllah. So it's like you continue to amaze me. So SubhanAllah.